All right, guys. So I figured I would make a little video to give you something to look off of and study off of. So we're going to find the LCM and the GCF. So find the GCF and LCM of two numbers using our grid method. So I just picked a couple random numbers to work with. Nothing too big, nothing too small. Remember, we don't always have to use the grid method. Sometimes we can just list some multiples and we can find that least common multiple. Sometimes it's really easy to see the greatest common factor. So the grid method is for some of these numbers when we're not sure what that greatest common factor is, or maybe what that least common multiple is. And when to find those. And so as we go through these, keep in mind that you might already know these, you might not, but let's just get some practice. So we're going to start off with the numbers 36 and 42. So when we're using our grid method, we're going to start off kind of with, like we said, our little bit of our tic-tac-toe board, or what it kind of looks like there. So when you start your grid method, again, we're looking at 36, 42, and we're going to try to find a common factor. So they're both even, so let's start with 2. So 36 is divisible by 2, and 36 divided by 2 equals 18. 42 divided by 2 would be 21. So now we've got 18, 21. We look to see if there's another common factor, which is 3. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So now the numbers that are over here, those give us the greatest common factor, or the GCF. So that equals both of those numbers multiplied. So the greatest common factor of 36 and 42 would be 6. So if I had the fraction 36 42 and I wanted to simplify that fraction, I would divide both top and bottom by 6 and end up with 6/7, and that fraction would be in lowest terms. So that is one of the reasons we want to find that greatest common factor. Now, least common multiple is already here for us also, and that's what we talked about, where we take all these numbers on the outside, which basically looks like we said a letter L. So, and we take, to find the LCM, we take all numbers 2 times 3 times 6 times 7 and find out what all of that equals. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So we just need to take 36 times 7. So 7 times 6, 42. Carry the 4. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 4 is 25. So the LCM of those two numbers is 252. This would be used if I had the fractions with the denominator. So if I had like 25 36 and let's say 17 42, which probably would never do to you, but if I needed that least common multiple or least common denominator, I would take that times however many times 42 goes into 252 and multiply that out. So times 6 times 6, and that would equal 252. 6 times 17, 60 plus 42, I think 102. So again, not a fraction we would use all the time, but that would be the reason why we would need that least common multiple. So doing one more, so let's try one more number, one more set of numbers. So we have 25 and 60. So again, start with our two numbers, start with our grid method, and find a common factor. Well, they both end in a 5 and a 0, so we're going to try 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 goes into 60 12 times. And now, if you notice, you've got 5, which is a prime number, and 12, whose factors are not 5 at all. So we are done after one step on this problem. So 5 right here is your GCF, and everything else, so circling what makes that L, is going to be our LCM. So 5 times 5 times 12. So we end up with 5 times 5, which is 25 times 12. Multiply that out. 10, carry a 1. There's 4. Plus 1 is 5. Add a 0. 1 times 5. 1 times 2. And 0, 10, carry a 1. So 300. So your LCM here would be 300. And that's just a kind of quick review of the grid method and how it works.